The Federal Communications Commission requires TV stations to caption emergency information and local programming such as newscasts. This training video shows our employees how to comply with the FCC rules. First, we're going to define a few terms. Captions are words that appear on screen and match the words that are being spoken. Captions can either be closed captions or open captions. Closed captions are transmitted invisibly in the video signal and require the TV viewer to either turn on or turn off closed captions on their TV set. Open captions are transmitted visibly. The end user does not have the option to turn them on or off. They always appear. Open captions are like watching a foreign language movie with subtitles. The next term that we will use is electronic newsroom technique, or ENT. In ENT, the script that appears in the teleprompter is transmitted automatically as a closed caption. At the teleprompter station, a monitor shows closed captions as they appear on screen. This allows the teleprompter operator to see the captions. The final concept that we're going to define is gaps. A gap is a portion of missing information. The purpose of the FCC rules is to eliminate gaps for the deaf, hard of hearing, or others who rely on captions when watching television. For example, if we go live to a reporter in the field for a story about a chemical leak that poses a risk to people, and then we do not caption the information in the live report, we have a very large gap for people who rely on captions. We cannot have gaps, either large or small. Captions do not have to be the verbatim what is said, but the substance of the information has to be captioned. This is how you can determine if there is a gap. Watch the TV with the volume off and the captions on. If you know what is happening, then there is no gap. If you do not know what is happening, there is a gap. Our station regularly conducts such gap tests as part of our compliance effort. The FCC rules on captioning require that captions meet these principles. The captions must be accurate. They must accurately represent what is being said. They must be complete. Again, no gaps. They must be synchronous. The captions must appear at the same time or near the same time that the information is being said, and the captions must be placed properly on screen. Let's first look at how to caption emergency information such as major breaking news events or severe weather. Because these events are not scripted, we cannot use the closed captioning method that we use in newscasts. Instead, we rely on the open caption method through our chyron. When you watch a news channel, you'll often see them putting lower third chyron highlights of interviews or breaking news as it happens. For example, Nixon says he is not a crook. Nixon says he will not resign. These highlights cycle and are updated as the event progresses. We use the same method for captioning emergency events, including breaking news and severe weather. We call it the information box or info box. On the building's share drive, go to the chyron folder. Inside the chyron folder, you'll see a text file called infobox.txt. You can open this file and type information that will appear on screen. You can keep this file open and continue to update information. The information will be displayed by line. Put one thought on one line and then hit Enter to start a new thought on a new line. When you update the text, hit Save. Information that is not saved cannot be read and displayed. The chyron runs through the lines from the top to the bottom and then starts over again. So the way we get information on quicker is to add new information to the top. You will have to make editorial decisions on when to load, modify, or delete lines of information into the text file. Keep information that is important and delete information that is less important or is older. If you have 20 lines of text, it will take longer to read and put up new information than if you have, say, 5 lines. So fewer lines means new information is displayed faster. The person updating the text file should be near the action. If during weather, the person should generally be in the severe weather center. For a news event, the person should generally be in the production control room. The person typing text should have some familiarity with the subject matter. A person without geographic knowledge of our viewing area could butcher the spelling of the name of a town being spoken, like Mahia. Or a person without a knowledge of sports could make a mistake of cornerback versus quarterback. This type of mistake would be highly embarrassing for the station, as well as a failure to accurately caption. You cannot use quotation marks in the info box. You can, however, use the apostrophes. An example text would be as follows. A severe thunderstorm warning is in effect until 9 p.m. for McLennan County. A severe storm has developed near Crawford. It is moving north-northeast at 40 miles per hour and is producing heavy rain, lightning, and hail. The severe storm will be in West Waco at 8:45. Then an update may change the text to as follows. Meteorologist Joe Storm Chaser reports baseball-size hail near Crawford. The other information continues as before. A further update would again change the text. First alert Doppler 3D shows a possible tornado approaching West Waco. Affected communities including Waco, Woodway, and Hewitt. Residents should take tornado precautions and seek shelter immediately. Then it continues on with an edited version of the previous information. Then the next update could see the following added line. A tornado warning is in effect for McLennan County until 9:30 p.m. Best practice and our policy. In the Chiron folder on the building share drive, we have a text file or text files with generic information that we can use in emergency or severe weather events. An example would be standard tornado precautions. We can copy and paste this generic text that we know that we're going to say in such an event. The generic file should also include text encouraging people to email us pictures. These generic text files will be updated as we learn from experience. We have 3 different types of info boxes that we can display. One is for severe weather, one is for breaking news, and one is generic. On the Chiron Channel 3 device, there is an info box folder on the desktop. Click inside it and select the box type shortcut that you want, severe weather, breaking news, or generic. Clicking on a shortcut will cause the Chiron to begin running through the information in the info box text file. A master control operator can then put the infobox Chiron on air. The infobox will run continuously until an operator hits the escape button on the Chiron keyboard. This is how the infobox appears on air. Now let's look at our responsibilities during newscasts. First, when we use the word newscast for the purpose of this video, we're really referring to all broadcast content. The program can be a newscast, a cut-in, a public affairs program, a weather special, or whatever else. All local broadcast content is included. The length doesn't matter. The content can be 10 seconds or 60 minutes. And it includes all 4 channels. It doesn't matter if the broadcast content is on KXXV, KRHD, Telemundo, or our local weather channel. ENT does a very good job of sending closed captions when there are scripts. But ENT cannot send closed captions without scripts. So, the first act of compliance is to script as much as humanly possible. The main problem areas to achieving total scripting are weather, last-minute sports highlights and scores, stories sent in from the field, live shots, live questions and answers, breaking news. Weather. All weather from the 3-minute forecast down to the 15-second GMA cut-in must be scripted in our newsroom computer system. The script does not have to be verbatim of what the meteorologist will say, but the script must describe each slide that is used. The text for each slide can be a summary of what the meteorologist will say. However, the forecast must be complete. A weathercast is not simply a meteorologist reading numbers off the screen. Captions that are accurate and complete aren't simply numbers or directing people to read numbers on the screen. Here is an example of a script with gaps. Joe Storm talks about the wind. Or, here's a look at wind speeds. Here's a script without gaps. Winds will be breezy and out of the north this morning before calming in the afternoon. Again, a script with gaps. Here's a look at rainfall. A script without gaps. Parts of central Texas saw 1 to 2 inches of rain. Heavy rain is in our western counties, while some places saw less than half an inch. A script with gaps. Here's your day-part forecast. A script without gaps. Temperatures will plunge throughout the day as an Arctic blast hits central Texas. The temperature at noon will be 70 degrees. By 4 p.m., that drops to 30 degrees and will be in the teens by 10 p.m. This is a dry cold with no rain, sleet, or ice. While weather does not have to be verbatim of what is said, the FCC is clear in pointing out that forecast information must be detailed. Best practices and our policy. Weather scripts have been the title for each slide followed by the script information. Here are script examples in our newsroom computer system. The area winds title in all caps followed by the description of this slide. The area rain amounts title in all caps followed by the description of the slide. This allows the meteorologist to easily find the beginning of each slide so that changes or substitutions can be easily made. If there's a last-minute decision to add, delete, or change a graphic, the meteorologist can easily find where to make the change if the slide titles are present. The slide titles also help the teleprompter operator ensure that we are following the synchronous principle and prompting the information for the right slide at the right time. Last-minute sports highlights and scores. In a usual story, the video is edited to match the length of the script. But with sports highlights, the play is a fixed length and the script has to be adjusted to match the length of the video. This is why sportscasters have to ad-lib. Even in this ad-lib situation, we cannot have gaps. The script does not have to be verbatim of what the sportscaster says, but it must follow the principles of being accurate, complete, and synchronous. Scores that are being said should also be in the script, especially if we're using lower third supers to display scores on air. The caption placement is over the bottom of the TV screen. That's where lower third supers are also. So captions often cover up the information on lower third supers. If the lower third score super is covered up by captions that don't include a score, we would have a gap. Stories sent in from the field and live shots. If a reporter is working on a story from the field, the script must be called in and typed in our newsroom computer system. This includes intros for the anchor and reporter, the text of the story including transcriptions of sound bites, and any reporter and anchor tag. Live Q&A and breaking news. For unscripted live programming, including breaking news and questions and answers, use the info box text file like we do for our emergency information. This can be displayed on Chiron Channel 3 like for emergency information, or it can be displayed on our normal news Chiron. For example, if we're doing a live Q&A with a Baylor baseball coach, someone needs to type in highlights of the information and display them on air using the generic info box graphic. The text could be something like this. Coach Slugger blames umpire for loss. Baylor plans to start pitcher Ace Armstrong against Texas. Coach Slugger wants fans to wear green to the game. The information will have to be quickly put on screen, as the info box will be taken down once the interview wraps up and the news moves on to the next topic. For breaking news, use the breaking news info box, and for severe weather events inside newscast, use the severe weather info box. Basically, follow our procedures for emergency information when unscripted breaking news or severe weather happens inside newscasts. On Chiron 1, the generic info box is page 8100. The severe weather info box is 8102. And the breaking news info box is page 8104. These pages are also built into the News Chiron automation in our newsroom computer system. Best practices and our policy. Every newscast rundown should have all 3 info box pages in the last script of the newscast. This will allow the Chiron operator to quickly get to the info boxes if needed. If a live Q&A is planned for a newscast, the generic info box should be inserted in the script for the ease of the Chiron operator. Compliance with the captioning rules requires constant vigilance. Best practice and our policy. All sound bites must be transcribed. You cannot just have in cues and out cues. The format for sound bites will be as follows. The name and title of who is talking in parentheses, followed by the verbatim of what is said. Since closed captions appear over the chirons on screen, the only way that a person using captions will know who is talking is if we identify that person before the transcription of what he or she is saying. The FCC has made it clear that spelling matters in captions. Since our captions come from our scripts, spelling matters in scripts. Viewers can file complaints with the FCC for misspellings in our captions. Prompter operators need to monitor the closed captions output monitor at the prompter station. If captions are covering up information on screen, such as open captions on the info box, press the Clear Decoder button on the prompter controller. Captions must be synchronous, so do not advance during a package or forecast to the end. Advance the script to match what is being said. This concludes our overview of captioning requirements. For more detailed instructions, consult other station training material or ask your supervisor.